We completed in our STS class Chola polity. Right. When it comes to Chola state and administration, the unique aspects of the Chola state. Number one, the most decentralized state. In other words, Cholas had the least bureaucracy. In the Chola inscriptions, you don't find any mentioning of the officers much. Chola king, very interestingly, was not the lawmaker. He was only guardian of law. Every village assembly enjoyed absolute autonomy. Cholas are known for promoting democratic ideas and institutions. Every locality, an independent locality. They themselves would rule. They themselves would make laws for themselves. Chola king was not the lawmaker. He was only guardian of the law. You people, you make your own laws. We are there to guard the law. If Chola king's order goes against the decision of the village assembly, Sabha, then the assembly's decision is final, not the word of the Chola king, not the order of the Chola king. I am telling you in other words, in Indian history, never our village panchayat system enjoyed that great liberty and autonomy. That's why Chola's great. What's so great about Chola administration? Great about Chola administration, number one, they strengthened democratic ideas and institutions. Gram panchayats, very powerful institutions under the Cholas. Right. That's why Chola bureaucracy, very, very limited. Every unit of administration independent. That's why Chola state, a segmentary state. Segment, compartment-wise. Each compartment, each unit independent. Next, number 3. Chola king, the first to claim divine status. This tendency to claim divine status you see even in Samrat Ashok. Ashok called himself Devanam Priya and Priyadarshi. Okay. The beloved of gods. But you see, interestingly, in Cholas, king of the Chola installed his own statues in the temple. When Chola kings were installing their own statues in the temple, means they are claiming divine status. If your statue is there in the temple is the place for God. In that complex you have your statue, that means you are also claiming divine status. This practice of Chola king claiming divine status marked the beginnings of what is called Devaraya system. Raya means king, Raja, claiming divine status, Devaraya. In South Indian history, after the Cholas onwards, you see the name Devaraya, 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 particularly in Vijayanagara Empire. This tradition started with the Cholas. Okay. For these reasons, Chola village administration and the state, very important for us. Democratic ideas and institutions. Empire divided. At the center, in the kingdom, at the center you have one secretariat called Perundram. Chief Secretary, Valainayakam. He would implement the orders of the king. That's all. Then what's the bureaucracy? We have no source on bureaucracy. No evidence on bureaucracy. That's why I say, state with the least bureaucracy, Cholas. Empire divided into different parts. Provinces, that means states. Chola kingdom divided into provinces, called Mandalam. Mandalam. Mandalams were divided into Valanadu, big unit Valanadu. Valanadu divided into Nadu. Nadu means it's just like this state. Nadu further divided into Kottam or Kurram, means just a group of villages like your Tahasil or Mandal. Then you have the lowest unit of the administration, village. You call it as Grama. Uttaramerur inscription talks about the village administration. I already told you very, very important source, Uttaramerur inscription. You mean all villages are just the same? No. Villages are different. Okay. Ur, you are Ur. Ur means it's a common village where you see all the castes coexist. Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudras, they live together. Then it is called Ur, a common village. People coming from South India, you know better. Okay, South Indian villages, okay, most of these South Indian villages, districts, even towns, they end with the last two words Ur. You are Ur. Right. Sirur, Perur, Tirur, like that. Ur. Uru means it's a common village for all the castes. Agrahara, I already told you. Agrahara, that is the village only for Brahmins. Nagaram, only for merchants. It's a type of settlement for merchants. Brahmadeyam, Brahmadeya, means the village developed around a temple. In South Indian society, my dear, temples played a very important role. Without temple, that place has no importance at all. It rose to prominence mainly because of the temple. So a village developing around the temple, you call it as Brahmadeya or Devadaya village. Okay. You go to South Indian villages, do you know temples? See there? Only because of the temple that the entire area developed. If there is no temple, no development at all for that area. Okay. There are some very prosperous villages, very rich villages, very big villages under the direct control of the state, king. That type of villages are called tenure. There's the question in UPSC, what was tenure? Tenure means the big important village settlement under the direct control of the state. Uttaramerur inscription talks about, okay, in detail, code of conduct, elections to the village executive committees, and code of conduct. For every village, you will have one legislative assembly. Assembly called Sabha. Sabha is open for all. Anyone can go and take part in Sabha. For every village, you will have one executive committee. Executive committee called Varayam, where all cannot be represented, then election takes place. In some textbooks it is written, elections to Sabha. Yes, elections won't be held for Sabha. Sabha is general, common assembly. Anyone can go and take part in Sabha. It's open for all. Election for executive committee. Executive committee is called Varayam, V-A-R-A-Y-A-M. How the elections were held? Lottery system. Contestants' names are written on chits. Kids are asked to pick up the chit. The name of the chit declared elected. It is not secret ballot voting, right? It is lottery system. Lottery system. There you have different wards, village, divided into different wards. From each ward, one member declared elected. He would hold the office for 3 years. maximum of 30 members elected. That 30 members would take care of the administration of the village, divided into different committees. Variyam means executive committee. Eti Variyam, Tota Variyam, Vana Variyam, like that. Eru, Eti Variyam means water distribution, very important. Maintenance of tanks, water distribution. So these committees take care of the village administration. The beauty of Uttarameru inscription is code of conduct. It talks about code of conduct. Okay. Contestant must be 35 to 70 age. First time contestant only. No one shall contest for the second time. He must have been a regular taxpayer. He must be proficient in Veda, mathematics. Understand these terms and conditions. Question in UPSC, critically examine whether the village administration under Cholas was democratic or not. For us to understand it very critically, whether it is democratic or not, you must vivisect, you must see everything in toto. Are you understanding? Qualification, taxpayers only. Qualification, he must be proficient in Veda, proficient in mathematics. Any chance for Shudra here? No. Veda means who will understand Veda, who will learn Veda? Only Brahmin. Mathematics, Shudras illiterate. Okay. To contest the elections, must be sound health, man of good health. Understand? Disqualifications, okay. Men of vices, bad habits, drunkards, okay. And people involved in adultery, okay. They are disqualified. Criminal background, disqualified. Interestingly, not only criminal background, the fellows of that family, members of the criminal background fellows, they are also not qualified. Because they do have criminal mentality. Corrupt fellows. Okay. And the family members of these corrupt fellows, they are also disqualified. Devadasi, Devadasis, temple dancing girls. From Chola times, you had a major social evil developed called Devadasi system. Devadasis were temple dancing girls. Okay. Only lower caste woman branded as Devadasi. She is expected to stay in the temple premises, take care of the premises, and perform dance during festive occasions. My dear, I tell you, I come from the states Telangana and Andhra. I represent both. Understand? Festive occasions we have Devadasis even today. Okay. They come drunk. Understand? They perform all vulgar dances. Okay. This is also called a record dance like that. Okay. I don't know whether you are aware of this or not. Okay. Then you see they are prostitutes. In the name of service to God, finally what happens is prostitution. Okay. A major social evil, Devadasi system. Okay. So sons of Devadasi, they are not to contest. Okay. These are qualifications and disqualifications for contesting the elections. A fantastic description, a lengthy description about the administration under the Cholas as per Uttarameru inscription. Take a note. Give the heading, State and Administration. Chola State and Administration. Did I already? Party खत्म हो गया ना? Out of the world synopsis is not there. Synopsis are there here. That's it. Only Kulottanga that is lost. That is Chola polity. Are you understanding? Kulothanga the last great ruler of the Cholas. Right. Okay. All there are other names. Veer Rajendra, Adi Rajendra, Rajarajendra, some all useless fellows, absolutely. Okay, better not. You go for that. Get the point. I already overburden you people. Next, give the subheading. Chola state and administration. Chola state and administration. Number 1. Chola state the most decentralized state. Chola state the most decentralized state with least bureaucracy. With least bureaucracy. Number 2. Every unit in administration independent and autonomous. Independent and autonomous. Chola state may be defined as Chola state may be defined as segmentary state, segment-wise, segmentary state, underline segmentary state. Which state is called segmentary state? Chola state. There's a question. UPSC asked it in the mains. Okay. First of all, history optional students themselves are not clear about what is segmentary state. They asked it in the mains. Okay. Segmentary state means every unit independent, autonomous, segmentary state. Full stop. Next paragraph, next point. Cholas best known for promoting self-governing, autonomous, local bodies democratic ideas and institutions. Democratic ideas and institutions. Next. Chola king was not the lawmaker. Chola king, not the lawmaker. He was guardian of law. Full stop. Every unit of administration made its own laws. Next. Cholas were the first to claim divine status. They started the practice of installing. Chola king started the practice of installing The idols of the kings in temples claiming divine status full stop. Thus, thus Devaraya system, Devaya, underline Devaraya system, started with the Cholas. Within brackets, king called Raya, Aryavaya, claiming divine status. Brackets close. Next. At the center, king was assisted by a secretariat called Perundram. Underline Perundram, secretariat. Valainayakam Valainayakam was the chief secretary Next. Chola state was divided into, next paragraph, Chola state was divided into provinces called mandalams. Provinces called mandalam, M-A-N-D-A-L-A-M. Mandalams, comma, they were further divided into Valanadus. Mandalams divided into Valanadus, big administrative units. Valanadus, comma, Valanadus into Nadus, within brackets, districts, and Nadus into Kottams or Kurrams. Kottam or Kurrams, within brackets, groups of villages. Kottams or Kurrams, that means block or tahsil, groups of villages. Full stop. Grama, Grama, or village the basic unit. Grama or village the lowest unit. Next paragraph. There are different types of, next paragraph. Uttaramirur inscription underline this, very important. Uttaramirur inscription, the most important source on the village administration under the Cholas. Full stop. According to it, there are different types of villages. Underline types. There were different types of villages. Semicolon number 1. Ur. You are Ur. Underline Ur. A common village. For all the castes. All the castes live together. For all the castes. Next. Agrahara. Only for Brahmins. Village only for Brahmins. Next. Brahmadeya. Village developed around the temple. A village developed around temple. Tenure. Means a big and prosperous village, big and rich village, under the direct control of the state, under the direct control of the king. Next paragraph. Every village had assembly. Called Sabha. Full stop. Uttaramirur inscription talks about elections to the executive committees. Called Varayams. Executive committees called Varayams. Underline Varayams. Full stop. From each ward, one member elected. from each ward, from each ward called Vadambam, Vadam. Underline Vadambam. Vadambam means ward. From each ward, within brackets, Vadambam, one member declared, one member would be elected for a period of 3 years. Maximum of 30 members. Maximum of 30 members elected. Election by lottery system. Full stop. Water distribution was the most important function of the executive committee called executive committee called Ativarium. Eru means water distribution. Eru means tank. Ativarium. Full stop. Underline Ativarium. Very important. Next. Election code of conduct was mentioned. Election code of conduct, underline election code of conduct was mentioned. Candidates must be first-time contestants. First-time contestants, comma, age between 35 to 70, comma, literates with proficiency in one Veda and mathematics. With proficiency in Veda and mathematics, comma, regular taxpayers, full stop. Next paragraph. Disqualifications, underline disqualifications. Criminals, and people with proven corrupt record. Corrupt. And their family members. Comma. Men of vices, men of bad habits, vices. And sons of Devadasi and woman and sons of Devadasi. And woman and sons of Devadasi are disqualified. Clear? Fine. Next paragraph. Even though there are limitations, even though there are limitations on the democratic system under the Cholas, under the democratic system of the Cholas, for their time and condition, for that time and condition, for their time and condition, definitely they made great contribution for the democratic system to develop. Are you understanding? For the democratic system to develop. Are you understanding the statement? What is the statement I gave there? Read out. That's right. That means what? There are definitely some limitations. Fine. Now listen. The last part here is cultural contribution under Cholas. When it comes to cultural contribution, the beginnings of the great Dravidian architecture, the beginnings of the great Dravidian culture, okay, you see under the Cholas, okay, making remarkable progress, the Dravidian culture. To begin with architecture, the Dravida style of temple architecture had seen its perfection under the Cholas, Dravida style. Classic example, Brihadishwara temple, Rajarajeshwaram, the biggest temple complex in India, in early medieval India. Rajaraja's son, Rajendra, he planned for much bigger temple than Brihadishwara temple. He could not complete the project. Airavteshwara temple. These temples, a class apart. Okay. Classic examples for the grand Dravidian style. Chola craftsmen, they excelled in the art of making bronze images of Nataraja Swami, bronze image of Nataraja Swami with 4 hands. If you remember while discussing Indus Valley civilization, I made a reference to Nataraj. Shiva's dance form is called Nataraj. I told you, every day evening 6 o'clock, according to our mythology, Shiva goes to Chidambaram. That's where he performs Tandava. Tandava every day. Today is Mahashivaratri. Yeah, Adiyogi is the birth. Adiyogi, Paramayogi, you understand? The one who taught everything for us. Okay, his birth. Okay, midnight, 12 o'clock. That's the time you have a wonderful consciousness that pervades all over the world. Okay. People are making lot of noise. Bhajans, kirtans, dance and all. Absolute silence you have to observe. To experience that amazing power. Understand? You call it Shiva. Right? Shivam. Shivam is consciousness. Okay. If you want to see it in a form, you can see it in a form. You want to experience it, you can experience it. Okay. So Shiva performs Tandava. Tandava at Chidambaram. Original statue of Nataraja Swami actually belonged to Chidambaram temple. This original statue was shifted over to London Museum by the British fellows. They have taken away almost all important things to London Museum, preserved there at least. They have done a good thing, they preserved it. Okay, and for that at least we must be thankful to them. The great Chief Minister, Jayalalitha, wonderful lady Jayalalitha, very efficient. Okay. She filed a case in International Court of Justice, got the original statue of Nataraj to the Chidambaram temple. This Nataraj idol, the most beautiful of all the art pieces, I mean particularly in the iconography and sculpture, the classic example is Nataraj idol. Okay. Developed by the Chola craftsmen. Right. Then in literature, Tamil had become very simple. Classical Tamil, very hard Tamil. Under the Cholas, it became very simple and became a spoken language Tamil. Liberal Tamil. Okay. Kamban translated Ramayana. Okay. Tirumurais. What were Tirumurais? The devotional hymns. If you remember while discussing Shaivism, I told you we have 63 Nayanars, Tamil Shaiva saints. These Nayanars composed devotional literature on Shiva called Thevaram, popular as Dravida Vedam. Right? Now you have hymns. Hymns you can recite in praise of Shiva. These hymns composed in Tamil by Nayanars, you call them Tirumurais. Tirumurais, very popular in Tamil literature. Pugalendi, great Tamil poet, Pugalendi, he wrote a tragic love story of King Nala and Damayanti. You must have heard of Nala Damayanti, Nalopakyanam. Understand? Tragic love story of King Nala and Damayanti. That text is called Nalavemba. Okay. Jayam Gondar, another great poet. He wrote Kalingat Parni. Kalingat Parni, Kulotonga conquering Kalinga. I told you Kulotonga conquered Kalinga. Before going to Kalinga, he took rest at Vishakhapatnam. Vishakhapatnam's actual name, I told you, Kulotonga Cholapuram. Anybody from Vishakhapatnam? Huh? They are there. They are there. I get the smell. Pungent Telugu smell. Okay. But they don't want to raise their hand. Anyway. Okay. Kulotonga Cholapuram. That's the actual name of Vishakhapatnam. Vishakhapatnam city. Okay. Right. So, Kulotonga's conquest of Kalinga, that's called Kalingat Patni. These classics were written under Cholas. Take a note. Cultural contribution of Cholas. Cultural contribution of Cholas. Cholas laid a solid foundation. Cholas laid a solid foundation for the development of unique South Indian culture, for the development of unique Dravidian culture. Unique Dravidian, Dravidian, Dravidian culture. Full stop. In architecture, next paragraph. In architecture, the grand Dravidian style reached its perfection with the construction of Brihadishwara temple. Brihadishwar, Briha, Dee, Brihadishwar, Shwar, Brihadishwara temple, or Rajarajeshwaram, Rajaraj, Rajaraja, Ishwaram, Eshwaram, Rajarajeshwaram at Tanjore. Next. In sculpture, next paragraph. Chola craftsmen excelled. Chola craftsmen, Crafts. Craftsmen excelled in the art of making bronze images of Nataraja Swami, with 4 hands. The original image of Nataraj actually belonged to Chidambaram temple. Next paragraph. In literature, classical Tamil was replaced by a liberal and spoken Tamil. Full stop. Kamban, K-I-M-B-N. Kamban translated Ramayana. Kamban translated Ramayana into Tamil. Full stop. Devotional hymns, 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 devotional hymns on Lord Shiva called Tirumurais. were composed by Tirumurais, composed by Tamil Saiva saints Nayanars. Nayanar. Full stop. Next. The great Tamil poet Pugalendi Okay. Don't find fault here with the spelling. The way Tamilians write, it's different. In general, what we write, it is different. So don't bother about spelling. Pugalendi wrote the tragic love story of King Nala, N-A-L-A, King Nala and Damayanti. Tragic love story of King Nala and Damayanti called Nalavemba. The story is called Nalavemba. Underline Nalavemba. Next. Jayam Gondar Tamil poet Jayam Gondar wrote Kalimgattu Parni. Underline Kalimgattu Parni. Kalingattu Parni. On the conquest of Kalinga. It's on conquest of Kalinga. Kalingattu Parni, conquest of Kalinga by Kulothonga Chola. Kulothonga Chola. Kulothonga Chola. Fine, that's enough. I forgot to discuss here economy. Just listen. Chola economy, okay, very rich and prosperous economy. There's a good question in UPSC. Okay. Reflect on Chola society and economy. Society and economy on the basis of temple architecture. When they could build such huge temples, definitely economy was very rich economy, very prosperous economy. Otherwise you can't take up that ambitious projects. Okay. They are going up to China, they are going up to Indonesia for silk trade. Means definitely economy was very prosperous under Cholas. Okay. In Chola economy, as it's a very prosperous economy and they monopolized silk trade with China, you have very rich merchant associations. You remember we used the word guild? Guilds. What were the important guilds under the Cholas? Nanadesi, Paradesi. You must have heard of the word Paradesi? Yes. Paradesi also means a notorious merchant. Okay. Nanadesi, Paradesi, Veeravalanjiyar, Manigramam. These are all popular guilds. Okay. UPSC gave a question on a very deceptive word, Gramam, Manigramam. Generally, Gramam means we tend to think that it is a village. Whereas Manigramam, guild of weavers. It's not village. It's not village. It's weavers guild. Manigramam. Vidhi. What was Vidhi? Vidhi means the settlement of weavers. Generally, people coming from South India, they take Vidhi for a street. We call street as Vidhi in our South India. Vidhi does not mean, under the Chola economy, street's name. It means the settlement of the weavers. Okay. Very rich economy that way. Okay. Next, Chola society. What were the important developments here? Important developments. Number one, the process of Sanskritization started. What do you mean by process of Sanskritization? Process of Sanskritization means the lower caste imitating the language, customs, traditions of the upper caste, and also taking the suffix of the upper caste. What is the suffix of the upper caste? For a Brahmin, Sharma, Shastri is the suffix. For Kshatriya, Varma. Are you understanding? Brahmins' names, generally you see they end with Sharma or Shastri. Kshatriya's names, they end with Varma. Right? Now lower caste also they started taking the same suffix after their name. Okay. They also call themselves Shastris, Sharmas and Varmas. This process is for claiming equal social status. You Brahmin, you speak Sanskrit, we also speak Sanskrit. You perform rituals and ceremonies, we follow the same rituals. You are Sharma, I am also Sharma. Are you understanding? Okay. This process is called Sanskritization process. Okay. In North India, you have Kayastha community. Okay. Any Kayasthas here? Which Kayastha you are? Srivastava, Brahmin Kayastha. You don't know. That is the problem. You don't know what Kayastha you are. You are not? No, answer the question. UPSC will ask this question. Don't tell morals and ethics there. Okay, they are very particular. Okay, Kayast, you have Brahmin Kayast and Kshatriya Kayast. Srivastava is a Brahmin Kayast, right? Kayasthas. Okay, they imitate the Brahmanical customs. You imitate Brahmanical customs, right? The ones that imitate, okay, you see in South India, we have subcaste. Subcaste, Nai Brahmin, Vishya Brahmin, they are not Brahmins. They are not Vishya, they are not Brahmins. Vishya Brahmins, goldsmiths. Okay, Nai Brahmin, barbers, claiming the status of Brahmins. Unless they tell, you can't make out. They are more conservative than conservative Brahmins. Got the point? Okay. So this process of Sanskritization started for the first time under the Cholas. The word Sanskritization was introduced by M.N. Srinivas. If you have sociology as your optional, you better know this. M.N. Srinivas, in his text, Social Change in Modern India, he used this word for the first time. So the process of Sanskritization started. It's still going on in South India. Lower caste taking the prefix and suffix of the upper caste. Okay. Second important development, I told you Devadasi system. I already explained who Devdas is. Third important thing is Tamil society was divided into right hand and left hand caste. Right hand caste, Idangai, and left hand caste, Idangai. Idangai, Vedangai caste conflict. All these Tamil terms. To make things very simple, right hand caste means the ones that are professionals. When a professional holds his tool or instrument, he uses first right hand. Whereas a farmer, a cultivator, when he tills the soil, he uses left hand. You have to hold the plough like this, left hand, then drive the plough. So farmers come under left hand. Craftsmen, they come under right hand. Okay. These clashes for social status, who shall be given more importance? This is called right hand, left hand caste conflict. This started again under the Chola times. Clear? Take a note. Chola society important developments, subheading, important developments. Number 1, process of Sanskritization started. Process of Sanskritization started. Sanskritization, underline Sanskritization. Under the process, lower caste imitated the language, customs, rituals, and the traditions of the upper caste Brahmin Kshatriyas. Upper caste Brahmin Kshatriyas for equal social status. Full stop. The word Sanskritization was first used by the great sociologist M.N. Srinivas, M.N. Srinivas, in his text Social Change in Modern India. Underline the text Social Change in Modern India. Full stop. Under the process Sanskritization. Under the process In South India, new subcaste, SUBCAST, new subcaste, such as Vishwa Brahmins, Vishwa, VISWA, Vishwa Brahmins, within brackets, goldsmiths. Profession wise, they are goldsmiths, brackets close, and Nai Brahmin, NAI, Nai Brahmins, NAI, Nai Brahmins, within brackets, Barbers, were formed, FORMED, brackets close, Berbers, brackets close, were formed, full stop. Next paragraph. Devadasi system comma, a system of temple dancing girls started for the first time under the Cholas. Next, number 3. Society was divided into right hand and left hand, caste, caste, and struggle started between them for social supremacy. Right hand castes were professionals, whereas left hand castes were farmers. Next, give the subheading Chola economy. Economy, very rich and prosperous economy. AYAM, AYAM, spelling AYAM, AYAM, underline AYAM, was the land tax. For the maintenance of tanks, village tanks. A special tax called special tax called Erripatti, Erripatt, Erripatti was collected. Next paragraph. Trade flourished well. Trade flourished well with Persia. TRAD. Trade flourished well with Persia and China. Full stop. There were rich merchant associations. There were rich guilds. GUILDS. Guilds formed. Such as Nanadesi and Paradesi. Nanadesi, Paradesi. Wait, don't put and. Nanadesi, Paradesi, Veera Valanjiyar. Veera Valanjiyar. Veera Valanjiyar, and underline these names, guilds names very important, and Manigramam, very important, market important, Manigramam, within brackets, Guild of Weavers. It means Guild of Weavers. Next, Telakais, TELAKKAI. Can you make out this guild? What do they manufacture? Apply your reason. Oil. Very good, my dear. Very sharp. How you got the reason? Tail. That's right, absolutely. That's right. It's not by fluke. It's not by fluke. You applied your reason. Fine. Telakais means oil swindlers. The guild of oil swindlers. Telakais means, within brackets, guild of oil swindlers. Oil merchants, otherwise. Oil, OIL. Right. That's enough on Cholas. Stop there. I dictated a note on Arab conquest of Sind. Now you are, listen. This is the end of early medieval India. While discussing early medieval India, here and there I gave references to Arab conquest of Sind. Muhammad Ghazni attacking India. Muhammad Ghori following Muhammad Ghazni. I mentioned, I think. I explained. Muhammad Ghori main purpose was to convert India into land of Islam. Okay, Dar-ul-Kafir into Darul-Islam. He succeeded in defeating Prithviraj, and very next year I mean 1193. He defeated Prithviraj in 1192. 1193, very next year, he killed Jayachandra, who helped him against Prithviraj. So the vast territories of Chauhans and Guhadwalas now were left at the feet of Gori. Gori appointed Aibak as his representative. Gori had no sons, only favorite slaves. He gave Central Asia to Mangvarni, his favorite slave. Then city Lahore to Yaldas and India to Aibak, Qutbuddin Aibak. When Gori died, these three became independent. That's how Delhi Sultanate was founded by Aibak. They are all Muslims. Sultanate means, my dear, 5 dynasties. Slave dynasty, Khiljis, Tughlaqs, Sayyids and Lodis. These were the 5 dynasties. All were Muslims, but they are different. Different in race and tribes. I mean, within this Sultanate, you have 2 different races, 3 different races, different tribes. Slave dynasty and the 3rd dynasty, Tughlaqs, they were Turk, T-U-R-K, Turk. Racially, they were Turk. 2nd dynasty, Khilji, and the last, Lodi. These 2, Khiljis and the Lodis, were Afghans. They come under the race, Afghan race. Sayyids, 4th dynasty, they are Persian. Right. This way the dynasties, they are all Muslims, but they are divided on racial grounds. It's not a homogeneous mass, rather heterogeneous. Right. Now slave dynasty, Qutbuddin Aibak the founder. Problem for Aibak, he had not been recognized as a sultan for a long time. When they all came to India, they entered India as slaves of Gori only. Okay. Other slaves, they are not ready to accept Aibak as sultan. In other words, there is a question in UPSC. Sultan of Delhi, who was not actually recognized as a sultan, it was Aibak. Muslims perform their special prayers on Fridays. These special prayers are called khutbah, Khutba, khutbah. In the special prayers khutbah, Aibak's name not mentioned. Aibak's name not mentioned means he was not recognized as sultan. Problem is, in the Holy Quran, Quran recognized only the Haqq, the creator, as the real king. There is no word called sultan. No word called sultan. Kings call themselves sultans. Strictly speaking, Quran does not recognize sultan. Either the Haqq, the creator, or the representative of this Haqq, Khalifa. These are the only 2 recognized. That's why Aibak found it very difficult to establish himself as a sultan. He was not recognized as a sultan. Aibak, popular as Lakbaksh and Aksharbaksh, for patronizing poets and great scholars. Man of great letters, Qutbuddin Aibak. Great patronage for poets and scholars. For that he was called Lakbaksh and Aksharbaksh. Right. Then Aibak had problems with Yaldas. Yaldas got only city Lahore, whereas Aibak got India and Mangvarni got Central Asia. That's why Yaldas fellow was not happy. he declared war, governor of Lahore. To punish Yaldas, Aibak left for Lahore, defeated Yaldas there. He scored a victory against Yaldas. Celebrating the victory, Aibak went for playing chogam, riding the horse and playing hockey. That's called polo otherwise. Poor fellow fallen down from the horse. Fallen down and died on the spot. Okay. So the Sultan who died while playing chogam, it was Aibak. Aibak died. Now there was no Sultan for Delhi. In Islamic history, you cannot claim anything by virtue of, inheritance. You have to prove yourself. In other words, there is nothing called law of primogeniture. I cannot simply, come to the office of my father by virtue of claiming inheritance. Right? There is no law called law of primogeniture. I must prove myself. Might is right in Islam. That way Islam democratic, definitely. It doesn't recognize any right by heritage. Okay, you must prove yourself. Right. So there was no Sultan for 3 days in Delhi. Sardars means military commanders, very powerful people. Okay, they are kingmakers. They, after hectic discussions, invited Aibak's son Aram Shah to be the Sultan of Delhi. This Aram Shah fellow, going by his name Aram, understand, interested in taking only rest. So the Sardars who made him Sultan, they removed him. Okay. He was removed. Sardars invited Aibak's son-in-law. Aibak's son-in-law Altamash or Iltutmish. Aibak's son-in-law. Iqtadar of Badaun. You know Badaun in UP? Badaun in UP. He was the Iqtadar. Iqtadar means the one who got the land. That land is called Iqta. Class, please remember. While discussing Gupta administration, I told you, Guptas gave land grants to Samants. You remember? Instead of giving them salary, Guptas gave land. Samanta system started under Guptas. Similarly, in Islamic history also, under the Sultans would give you salary in terms of land, not in terms of currency. That land given to you for your services is called Iqta, I-Q-T-A. Okay. In North India, you come across, people with the surname Iqtadar. I don't know whether you have heard of this or not. Iqtadar Alam Khan, Mukti. Iqtadar Alam Khan means his ancestors must have been Iqtadars, very rich landlords. So, Iltutmish, Iqtadar, who got the Iqta Badaun, son-in-law of Aibak. Okay. We call Iltutmish the real founder of the slave dynasty. Why you call him real founder of the slave dynasty? In this slave dynasty, you have maximum of 10 sultans. 10. Of all the dynasties, slave dynasty, maximum sultans, 10. Of the 10, nearly 6 were connected to him. They are related to Iltutmish. Most of the sultans related to Iltutmish. It is that they are related to Iltutmish, you call him the real founder of the slave dynasty. Are you understanding what I am telling? Of the 10, nearly 6 related to Iltutmish. That's why you call him the founder of slave dynasty. Now what are the reforms of Iltutmish? Reforms of Iltutmish, number one, there was no currency system before he is coming to power. Iltutmish, first sultan to give coins. silver coins called tanka, copper coins called jital. These coins were issued by Sultan Iltutmish, first Sultan to mint currency, Iltutmish. Secondly, I told you Sardars very powerful fellows. They are the kingmakers. They can remove, they can bring anyone to power. So Sultan dependent upon Sardars, powerful fellows. Unless you give them a representation in administration, it is difficult to, control them. That's why Iltutmish founded a representative body for sultans. That's called Chihalgani. What was Chihalgani? Chihalgani, a representative organization for the Sardars with 40 members. 40 Sardars represent all the Sardars. A representative body called Chihalgani. UPSC asked a question. Who was the first to construct rest houses in Delhi? These rest houses are called sarais. In Delhi, you have different sarais. You must have heard of it. Bear Sarai, Jia Sarai, Lal Sarai, like that. Sarai means rest houses. Construction of rest houses started with Iltutmish. When Iltutmish was ruling Delhi, for the first time Delhi was exposed to the attacks of Mongols. Mongolian name, it has struck a terror in the heart of the enemies. Very dangerous Mongols. Practically impossible to stop them. Their leader, Genghis Khan. Notorious Genghis Khan. Genghis Khan founded one of the mightiest empires in the world. From Mongolia to Alexandria, he overran the entire Central Asia. No one could withstand his might. Now Genghis Khan almost threatened, all set to attack Delhi. Why Genghis Khan was all set to attack Delhi? Genghis Khan threatened Jalaluddin, one of the rulers of Central Asia, not to harass Mongolian merchants. But Jalaluddin continued to harass them. That's why Genghis Khan defeated Jalal. Jalal knew very well that he was going to be killed. That's why he was running after his life. Jalal came to the court of Yaldas. Yaldas, governor of Lahore. That made Genghis Khan to attack Lahore also. There Yaldas was defeated. Now both the defeated fellows want to come to Delhi. You got the point? If you give them shelter in Delhi, definitely Genghis Khan would attack Delhi. Iltutmish refused to give shelter to these two to avoid the threat, that scourge of Mongols. Genghis Khan, the other reason why he had not attacked Delhi, that's the land of Buddha. Buddha is born in India. Genghis Khan was a Buddhist. So he didn't want to shed blood in the soil of the Buddha. He went back. But Mongolian threat continued to be a perennial source of concern for the sultans. Iltutmish had 4 sons, 2 daughters. First daughter Razia, second one Rukhsana. Razia excelled in administration, very efficient lady, Razia. Sultan appointed Razia as the governor of Delhi. A very efficient woman. Actually, Iltutmish's choice was Razia to be the sultana, to come to power next. You understand? It's that she happened to be a woman. Ulema means priests. They are highly conservative. They never allow women to come to power. Forget about Razia. Even they did not allow Benazir Bhutto. You know this? Bhutto got the clear mandate, Benazir Bhutto. Then Futwa was issued by Ulema. You, Benazir, you are a woman, how would you come to power? If that's the state of affairs in 20th century, you can imagine 13th century. Razia was not allowed to come to power. Razia's brother, Ruknuddin Firoz, he was made Sultan. Ruknuddin Firoz inefficient. His mother Shah Turkan, she interfered in administration, finally making it an administration woman only. That's why same Sardars who opposed Rajia to come to power, they revolted against Ruknuddin Firoz. They removed Ruknuddin and invited Rajia to be the Sultana of Delhi, the only woman ruler in the history of Delhi. Only woman ruler. In between Rajia and Sushma Swaraj, no woman ruler. Next to Rajia, Sushma Swaraj. Sushma Swaraj, you know, first woman chief minister. Now she acted as chief minister for some time, Delhi. After that, Sheila Dikshit, right? Don't say Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi, prime minister. You can't say Indira Gandhi, chief minister of Delhi. No, prime minister. So Rajia Sultana, the only woman ruler in the history of Delhi. Problem with Rajia, very good administrator. Only the problem, she showed undue interest. Undue interest in promoting Yaqub. Yaqub, African slave, Abyssinian slave. He was promoted by Rajia to a very high rank of Amir-e-Alor. Amir-e-Alor means chief commander of cavalry forces. Okay. In the military administration of sultans, cavalry wing is very important wing. Cavalry means horse riders. You are the head of cavalry wing. Amir-e-Alor means more like chief commander. After all, a slave. This was not liked by Turkish Sardars. Turkish Sardars complained the matter to Rajia's cousin Altunia, ruler of Bathinda. Altunia was interested in Rajia, whereas Rajia was interested in this fellow. That's the problem. Understand? Altunia threatened to revolt. Poor fellow revolted. Altunia was the ruler of Bathinda ruler. He revolted against Rajia. Rajia went to Bathinda to convince Altunia. There she married Altunia. In her absence, a conspiracy was hatched by Mustafi, Mushrif and Naib. Naib means deputy. Mushrif means accountant. Mustafi means auditor. They conspired against Rajia. Poor woman was killed while she was returning back from Bathinda to Delhi. Okay, that's how her chapter ended. After Rajia, her brothers Behram Shah, Masur Shah, they became the rulers, insignificant. Okay. Then you have Naziruddin Muhammad, the ruler of Delhi. 1245 to 65, for 20 years, Naziruddin ruled Delhi. Naziruddin married, very young sultan, married daughter of Balban, Ghiyazuddin Balban, very important person, Balban. So Sultan only for namesake, Naziruddin Muhammad. The real power was in the hands of Balban. Very efficient man, Balban. Understand? In the court of Naziruddin Muhammad, you have the great Persian poet Minaz Siraz. He wrote Tabakat-e-Nasiri on the administration of Naziruddin Muhammad. Tabakat-e-Nasiri. In 1265, Naziruddin Muhammad was found under mysterious circumstances, killed. We don't know who killed him. Some say Balban himself killed his son-in-law like that. But, he was killed. Now Balban himself came to power. Father-in-law Balban, B-A-L-B-A-N. The greatest of the slave dynasty. Balban's actual name, Ulugh Khan. Ulg, ULGH, a bond slave, by birth slave, bond slave. His mother sold him off to Khwaja Jamal. Khwaja Jamal in turn sold him off to Iltutmish. So, question in UPSC, slave of slave, Balban. Iltutmish, slave of Aibak. This Iltutmish, slave of Aibak, he had another slave. Got the point? That slave was Balban. Got the point? So, Balban, slave of slave, Iltutmish. Balban, man of great sense of purpose, duty-minded Balban, impressed Iltutmish. Iltutmish made him, actually his profession, to provide water carrier, to the palace. Then Balban was promoted to the rank of Mir-e-Jahandar, in charge of royal palace, high rank. Then Iltutmish made him the chairman, in sense, the head of the Chihalgani, association of 40 nobles. Head Balban. Now Balban himself the Sultan. He knew what were the problems of the sultans. He had seen 6 sultans. Main problem of the sultan, he was controlled. Controlled by ulema and the sardars. Sardars, I told you, military commanders. Very powerful people. Always controlling the sultan. Ulema means priests. They interpret the law. Any law you make, first they will comment on that. This is not according to Quran, this is according to Quran, ऐसा बोलते हो लोग. They are extra constitutional authority. So how to establish the position of the Sultan? Sultan a puppet in the hands of these two. So Balban decided to make up the office of Sultan powerful first. Maintaining the dignity and decorum of office, the top priority of Balban. How to make it? So give some divine status for the office of Sultan. If we impart divinity to the office of Sultan, then there is possibility for commanding respect. That's why Balban disclosed his concept, kingship, to his second son Bugra. Are Bugra, all can't become sultans. The very fact that I had become sultan, I had the divine will for this. God had given me sanction to become the sultan. All can't become sultans. Sultan's heart is the repository of God. Sultan is the shadow of God on this earth. This concept, Sultan, the shadow of God on this earth, you call it as Jile-Illahi. Are you understanding? You must have seen the movie Jodha Akbar. There in the Jodha Akbar, Mughal Sardars addressing Akbar, Jile-Illahi. The concept Jile-Illahi, dynastic title of the Mughal emperors, it started with Balban first. For Balban, king is the shadow of God on this earth. For that, he first decided to impose a very strict discipline for himself. When you say you are the shadow of God on this earth, you must stand up to the expectations, right? Balban gave up his habit of drinking. When you drink, you will become cheap. Understand? So, better not you drink, lose your dignity. No public drinking or private drinking for that matter. 24 hours in the uniform of the Sultan. Understand? He had not allowed common people to enter into his presence. No one to cry, no one to laugh in his presence. Strict discipline for himself and for others. Balban, the first Sultan to introduce royal customs. Royal customs, Sijda, Poibos, Jumbos. Sijda means the moment you see the Sultan, you must prostrate before the Sultan. Prostrate. That is Sijda. Poibos, touch the feet of the Sultan. Jumbos, kiss the fingers of the Sultan. These were not there before Balban. Before Balban, hi Sultan, how are you and all that. ऐसा नहीं है अभी. Royal customs, you must follow the customs. Otherwise you had it. Right. So royal customs were introduced by Balban, imposing very strict discipline. Right. He was the first Sultan to punish the errant Sardars. Okay. First Sultan to deal with very harshly with the Sardars, errant Sardars. One woman complained that a Sardar misbehaved with her, killed her husband. Then Balban gave her the sword. Figure out who the fellow. Kill him. That fellow killed your husband, you kill him. Okay. Punishment's very cruel. That's why no one ever dare commit an offense. Okay. Law must be feared. It's because you have no fear of law, lawlessness in society. Okay. Others want to do that. Right. Fear is very important. Lack of fear is the root cause. Balban founded a separate department, military department, Diwan-e-Araj. Araj-e Mumalik, chief commander, under his control. Okay. Sardars, powerful because they are enjoying iktas, vast lands. So Balban reduced the extension of iktas. Thereby he affected at the source. That means revenue of the Sardars got marginally decreased. Marginally affected. Sardars now became incompetent, because they are not in a position to conspire against. Sardars not in a position to conspire against the Sultan. Next, quiet please. There is threat of dacoits in Delhi, Mewatis. Okay. It was Balban who dealt with an iron hand. Very cruel punishments for dacoits. The moment you see them, kill them. This is the orders. So city Delhi, okay, historically known for crime rate. Understand? Crime rate is quite high in Delhi. One of our students, she is posted as ACP. Okay. She was telling, sir, it's horrible. Okay. Intermediate student killing his mother. And his answer is what? Just for the sake of it he killed. Sake of entertainment. How the sharp raised this knife would work. He wanted to test. Killing his mother. So indifference. Understand? Grass, what you can call it as indifference. That's the right word. These criminal tendencies are very high here, partly because the background is like that. Delhi's background is that. Mewatis were suppressed by Balban. Balban the first to introduce the custom of celebrating Persian New Year festival. That's called Navroz. Have you heard of Navroz? That started with Balban. Right. When Balban was ruling Delhi so effectively, that's the time Mongols attacked India. Balban called upon his two brilliant commanders, Jalaluddin Khilji and Prince Muhammad. They were entrusted with the task of defending Delhi. Okay. Prince Muhammad scored a brilliant victory against the Mongols. Defeating them is a Himalayan task. Prince Muhammad had done that. But unfortunately, Muhammad died in the fight. Muhammad won the war, but died in the fight. That was a major shock for Balban. 75-year-old Balban could not reconcile with the death of his son. Okay. He died of shock. Balban died of shock. When Balban died of his shock, his second son Bugra was the governor of Bengal. He refused to come to Delhi and to rule Delhi. That's why Sardars invited Balban's grandson, Kaikubad, to be the Sultan of Delhi. This Kaikubad, a paralytic, according to Quran, Sultan shall be physically fit, whereas Kaikubad, physically handicapped. Even then, out of respect for Balban, Sardars made him the Sultan of Delhi. Once he became Sultan of Delhi, he turned into excess of drinking. This paralytic Sultan drinking too much. That disappointed Khiljis. Khilji is a very powerful family, very dynamic, very efficient, very enterprising Khiljis. They wanted very efficient leadership, not incompetent Sultan, always drinking. That's why Khiljis revolted. Revolted under the leadership of Jalaluddin Khilji. This is called Khilji Revolution. They did not kill Kaikubad. They simply entered the city Delhi and removed Kaikubad. That's called Khilji Revolution. Now a new dynasty came to power. Khilji dynasty. You go for your break. Is it time? Get a heading. Delhi Sultanate. Delhi Sultanate heading. Sultanate consisted of 5 dynasties. Five dynasties, semicolon number 1, slave dynasty, 1206 to 1290. Khilji dynasty, 1290 to 1320. Tughlaqs, 1320 to 1414. Sayyids, 1414 to 1451. And for 51, Lodis, Lodi dynasty, 1451 to 1526. Full stop. Next paragraph. Of the five dynasties, first and the third, that means slave dynasty and Tughlaqs. First and the third were Turk, T-U-R-K, Turks. Turkish, Turk, T-U-R-K, Turk, full stop. Second and fifth That means Khiljis and Lodis. Second and fifth were Afghans. AFGHAN, Afghans. Next, fourth one, Sayyids, were Persians. They were Persians. Full stop. Next, of the 5 dynasties, of the 5, slave dynasty had maximum number of sultans. Slave dynasty had maximum number of sultans, within brackets 10 sultans. And the Lodis had the least. Lodis had only 3 sultans. Lodis had the least. Within brackets, only 3. Next. Tughlaqs ruled for the longest. Tughlaqs ruled for the longest. And Khiljis for the shortest. Khiljis for the shortest tenure. Fine. Now give the subheading Slave Dynasty. Slave Dynasty, also called as Slave Dynasty, also called as Mamluks. Mamluk dynasty, Mamluks, within brackets, born slaves. Born slaves, brackets close. Though THYGH, though majority of the sultans were not slaves, though majority of the sultans were not actually slaves, though majority of the sultans were not actually slaves. Full stop. Now give the next paragraph. Go to next paragraph. Kutubuddin Aibak. You want spelling, my dear? Kutubuddin Aibak, the first of the slave dynasty, first of the slave dynasty. Full stop. He was not considered as a sultan. Aibak was not considered as a sultan for a long time. Full stop. His name was not mentioned. His name was not mentioned in Friday prayers. Friday prayers called Khutbah. Qutba. Khutbah. Friday prayers called Khutbah. Full stop. Next. He became popular as, Aibak became popular as lockbox and aksharbaks. Underline lockbox and aksharbaks for patronizing poets and scholars. Poets, P-O-E-T-S, poets and scholars. Next. He died at Lahore. Aibak died at Lahore while playing chogam. While playing chogam, within brackets, polo. While playing chogam, within brackets, polo. Class, please understand one thing. Here I am not discussing art, architecture and all that. Constructions of Aibak, okay, Quwwatul Islam, Adaiddin ki Jhumbra, and foundations for Qutub Minar are not mentioned. I will discuss all that under architecture. Separate chapters we have. Okay, after completing this, I will devote entirely, a separate class for architecture, music, literature, painting and all that. Hope you are understanding. Okay, so some of you might be feeling, अरे ये वो नहीं mention किया, वो नहीं mention किया, क्या class है ये, ऐसा, हाँ, मालूम है मुझे. You people will be thinking like that. You will always be expecting what that should come from my side. Okay, I will come. Okay, after the class, this chapter is over, then I will discuss. Separate topics are there. In the culture part, I have not discussed actually culture part. Once this is over, then I will go to the culture part. Right. Next. He died at Lahore while playing chogam. Next, give the subheading Iltutmish. Iltutmish or Altamash. Or Altamash. Iltutmish or Altamash, son-in-law of Aibak. Son-in-law of Aibak and Iqtadar of Badaun. Iqtadar of Badaun. Badaun in UP. And Iqtadar of Badaun. Full stop. Iqta system, mark it important. IQTA. Iqta system, comma. System of land grants. System of land grants given to Sardars, Sardar, S-A-R-D-A-R, Sardars, instead of their salary, full stop. Now give the subheading Reforms of Aibak. Reforms of Aibak. Number one, he was the first Sultan to issue First Sultan to issue currency, tankas, silver coins and jitals, copper coins. Jital underline, jitals, copper coins. Next, number 2. He founded a representative body. He founded a representative body for the Sardars, military commanders. Sardars, within brackets, military commanders, called Chihalgani. A representative body for Sardars called Chihalgani, underlying Chihalgani. Next, number 3. First Sultan to construct Iltutmish, first Sultan to construct rest houses, rest houses called sarais, in Delhi, sarais in Delhi. Next, it was during his times, mark it important, it was during his times, Iltutmish times, that Mongols invaded India. Mongols invaded India for the first time under the leadership of Genghis Khan. Under the leadership of Genghis Khan. Full stop. Now give the subheading Rajia Sultana. Rajia Sultana, the daughter of Iltutmish, the only woman ruler in the history of Delhi. Only woman ruler in the history of Delhi. Right. Next, give the subheading Naziruddin Muhammad. Naziruddin Muhammad. Within brackets 1245 to 65. Naziruddin Muhammad 1245 to 65. He was the son-in-law of Naziruddin Muhammad, son-in-law of Balban, B-A-L-B-A-N, Balban, full stop. In the court of Naziruddin, C-O-U-R-T, court of Naziruddin, The great Persian poet Minhaj Siraj, Minhaj Siraj or Minhaj us Siraj wrote Tabakat-e-Nasiri. Tabakat-e-Nasiri. Nasiri, underline the title. On the administration of Naziruddin. On the administration of Naziruddin. Fine. Next, give the subheading Ghiyazuddin Balban. Ghiyazuddin Balban, within brackets 1265 to 86. 1265 to 86. Ghiyazuddin Balban. The greatest of the slave dynasty. Greatest of the slave dynasty. Full stop. His actual name Ulgh, U-L-G-H. U-L-G-H. Ulgh Khan. Ulgh Khan. U-L-G-H. Full stop. He was the slave of slave. He was the slave of Iltutmish. Write like that first. Slave of Iltutmish. Thus, he was called slave of slave. Thus, he was called. What's the question? What is the problem? Who? Balban, slave of Iltutmish. So, slave of slave. Okay. Balban was a slave of slave. Okay. He was the slave of Iltutmish. Iltutmish is slave of Aibak. So, slave of slave. Clear? Full stop. Next. His reforms. Balban's reforms, very important. His reforms, number one. He abolished Chihalgani. Abolished Chihalgani. What was Chihalgani? Association of 40 nobles. Right? I told you, Iltutmish founded association of 40 nobles for the Sardars, to represent the Sardars. Okay. The moment Balban came to power, he removed Chihalgani because it's a threat for the Sultan. They are controlling Sultan. Okay. First reforms of Balban, he abolished Chihalgani. Chihalgani. Chihalgani, underline that. Association of 40 nobles. Chihalgani, association of 40 nobles. Number one. Next, number two. He reorganized. He was the first Sultan. Wait, my dear. Before that also I should have told you that. Anyway, next, number two. He was the first to introduce He was the first to introduce the divine origin theory of kingship. Divine origin theory of kingship, K-I-N-G-S-H-I-P. Divine origin theory of kingship, full stop. For Balban, king is the shadow of God on the earth. King is the shadow of God on this earth, called Jile Illahi. Jile Illahi. Underline Jile Illahi. Full stop. Later Jile Illahi became Jile Illahi became the dynastic title of the Mughal emperors. Full stop. Next, number 3. Balban, the first sultan to introduce royal customs like Sijda, Poibos and Jumbos. Sijda, Poibos and Jumbos means prostrating before Sultan, kissing the fingers of the Sultan, touching the feet of Sultan. Full stop. Next. He was the first Sultan to punish Balban, the first Sultan to punish the Sardars. Sardar, S-A-R-D-A-R. Sardars. Next. He was the first to start a separate department. For military administration called Diwan-e-Araj. Mark it important. Underline Diwan-e-Araj. What was Diwan-e-Araj? Military department. First to start a military department called Diwan-e-Araj. Next. First Sultan to reorganize the Iqta system, IQTA. Iqta system, and thereby the revenue of the Sardars. Thereby he reduced the revenue of the Sardars. Next. He effectively suppressed the threat of the dacoits in Delhi. The dacoits in Delhi called Mewatis. Mewatis, Mewatis. Next, he was also the first. There were so many firsts to the credit of Balban. He was also the first to start the practice of celebrating Persian New Year festival. Persian New Year festival, Navroj, N-A-O, Navroj, R-O-J, N-A-O, R-O-J, Navroz, underline Navroz. His first son, Prince Muhammad, Balban's first son, Prince Muhammad, died in the fight against Mongols. And Balban died of shock. Full stop. Next. Kaikubad, K-A-I-Q-U-B-A-D. Kaikubad, within brackets, 1286 to 90. Kaikubad, grandson of Balban. First Sultan to come to power. He was the first Sultan to come to power when his father was still alive. His father Bugra B-U-G-R-A, was the governor of Bengal. Next, against the spirit of Quran, Holy Quran, even though physically handicapped, he came to power full stop. Next paragraph. Jalaluddin Khilji. Jalaluddin, J-A-L-A-L, Jalal, U-D-D-I-N. Jalaluddin Khilji revolted and removed Kaikubad under Khilji Revolution. Underline Khilji Revolution. Full stop. Now listen. This about slave dynasty. Now Khiljis came to power. Jalaluddin Khilji, founder of the dynasty. Jalal ruled Delhi for 5 years. 1290 to 95, Jalaluddin Khilji, Sultan of Delhi. His first son-in-law, Alauddin Khilji, governor of Kara in Uttar Pradesh. Jalal, first sultan to rule according to public opinion. Very democratic, kind-hearted. Never he inflicted any cruel punishment upon anyone. Okay. First sultan to rule according to public opinion, Jalaluddin Khilji. It was during his times Mongols again attacked India. This time under the leadership of Ulagu, Ulagu, Ulagu. Jalal already had the experience of dealing with Mongols under Balban. You remember? Prince Muhammad and Jalal together defeated Mongols. So it's not a big challenge for Jalaluddin. He very effectively handled it. Defeated the Mongols. Defeated Mongols were converted into Islam. These converted Mongols were called Naya Muslimans. There's a question in UPSC, who were Naya Muslimans? New Muslims. Who were Naya Muslimans? The converted Mongols were called Naya Muslimans. Mongolian leader Ulagu was made second son-in-law of Jalal. Punishment for the fellow. Okay. Jalal's daughters very arrogant. Okay. First daughter Malika Begum, okay, she virtually created hell for Alauddin Khilji. Okay. Another daughter, very arrogant daughter. So punishment, you fellow, marry my daughter. Got the point? Huh? Okay. Ulagu, second son-in-law of Jalal. First son-in-law Alauddin Khilji, governor of Kara, without informing Sultan Jalal, went to Devagiri, Daulatabad in Maharashtra. There he defeated Ramchandra Deva of Devagiri. This was the first victory of the Muslims in South. Very important, 1295. Devagiri, Daulatabad, okay, going by the name, rich city, very prosperous. Yadavas, very rich Yadavas. This kingdom was looted by Alauddin Khilji. He amassed quite a lot of wealth in the conquest of Devagiri, 1295. Here he committed two grave mistakes. Not informing Sultan Jalal, Alauddin on his own attacked Devagiri. You have Sultan, you should take permission of the Sultan. Secondly, Alauddin refused to part 1/5 of the war booty with the Sultan. He amassed quite a lot of wealth. In Sultanate administration, you have a tax, khams. Khams means 1/5 of the share should go to the Sultan. Whenever you go for conquest, you defeat the other party, you loot them. In the loot, 1/5 should go to the Sultan. That is called khams. Alauddin refused to pay. But Jalal, he thought entire thing in a different way. Jalal celebrated the victory of his son-in-law. First time Muslims scored victory in South. Matter of celebration for Jalal. Jalal left the city Delhi, came to Kara all the way to welcome his son-in-law. That night, both father and son-in-law had sat for drinks. Understand? In inebriated state of mind, in the drunken state, Alauddin murdered Jalal. Okay. You are shown in the movie Padmavat. I think some of you must have seen Padmavat. Okay. It's a Jalal was, definitely projected in a very bad taste. Jalal eating chicken in the court, sleeping in the court. It's a very ridiculous way Jalal was projected. Okay, that's not the right way. Okay, Jalal, a highly dignified man. Okay. So Jalaluddin unfortunately was killed by Alauddin. Now Alauddin distributed the wealth, purchased the sympathy and loyalty of his commanders, Jalal's commanders. That's how Alauddin came to power, purchasing the loyalty by foul means, definitely not fair means. Alauddin Khilji, the most ambitious and the most popular sultan, undoubtedly the greatest sultan in the history of Sultanate, Alauddin. He always wanted his name shall remain in history on par with either Prophet Muhammad or Alexander. Either your name should go down as like that of Alexander who conquered the world, or like Prophet Muhammad who founded a new religion. You shall not die as an innocuous, insignificant fellow. Okay. We must make our name felt wherever we do, whatever we do. Understand? Alauddin here was advised by the Qazi of Delhi, Alawul Mulk, his close friend. Are Alauddin, forget about conquering the world. Conquer first India. That itself is something difficult. Conquer India first. Don't think of founding a new religion, because Islam never accepts any other religion except Islam. So first conquer India. This led to what is called Khilji imperialism. In 1296, Alauddin attacked Gujarat. Gujarat at the time was ruled by Waghela dynasty, Rana Karnadeva. Karnadev was defeated. Karnadeva's wife Kamla Devi was captured. Alauddin had terrible weakness for women, because he is not happy with his wife. That's the problem. You are happy with your wife, you don't look at this side, that side, you understand? No. Alauddin captured Kamla Devi. Okay. Gujarat conquest is equally important for the other thing, Malik Kafur. Malik Kafur, who had become deputy of Alauddin. Right. He was actually a Hindu, converted into Islam. He was also captured in the conquest of Gujarat. That's a question. Malik Kafur was caught by Alauddin in which expedition? In the Gujarat expedition. In 1299, Alauddin defeated Rana Hamir of Ranadambor. In 1303, Alauddin seized the fort Chittor. Someone told Alauddin, ये कमला देवी अच्छा नहीं है, पद्मिनी अच्छा है. Wherever there are good girls, good looking women are there Alauddin definitely be there. Okay. Rani Padmini, the most beautiful face of Hindustan at that time. Okay. Malik Muhammad Jayasi, he wrote Padmavat. He wrote it after 200 years of the incident. He is not giving any credibility for the incident he is talking about. That Padmavat story had become the basis for the movie Rani Padmini. Okay. Jayasi tells us the center of attraction for Alauddin, okay, Rani Padmini, the most beautiful wife of Rana Ratan Singh of Mewar. Mewar, it's impregnable, a very difficult fort to conquer. Okay. 6 months, nothing happened. So Alauddin sent a word that at least, show the face of Padmini in a mirror. A very cheap fellow, you understand? So that, frustrated, so that he would go back with the satisfaction that he had seen the most beautiful face of Hindustan. Arrangements were made for that. Why to war? Avoid the war. When he had seen the face of Padmini, he made not to go back. He made up his mind not to go back. War started. Ratan Singh was killed. Padmini and her courtesans performed Johar. Johar, obviously, a matter of respect. Okay. You can't allow the other man to touch your body. Got the point. You are here for either man or woman. Once you are married means your life shall end with that. Okay. You are allowing others to touch means your body, that's great sin in a way. Okay. That's why Rajput women perform it. You can't accept it. Understand? This is the story Padmavat, written in Awadhi language. Language Awadhi, highly poetic Awadhi. Right. Then in 1305, Alauddin defeated Rana Mahalak Dev of Malwa. With that, Alauddin virtually the emperor of Hindustan, entire North India under his control. Then he asked Malik Kafur to go to south. Malik Kafur again attacked Devagiri. Second time Devagiri was attacked. Because Ramchandra Deva of Devagiri gave shelter to Rana Karnadeva defeated. Karnadeva was taking shelter. Karnadeva and his daughter Deval Devi. So Malik Kafur attacked Devagiri for the second time. Ramchandra was defeated. Right. Karnadeva ran away. His daughter Deval Devi captured. She was made to marry Alauddin's son Kisra. The plight of Rajput woman is horrible. Mother was made to marry father. Mother's daughter was made to marry father's son. Like father, like son, Kisra. Understand? Deval Devi was made to marry Kisra Khan, son of Alauddin. Then Malik Kafur attacked Warangal, Kakatiya kingdom of Warangal in Telangana state. Prataparudra, grandson of Rudramadevi, he was defeated. This is the first expedition. In the second expedition, Alauddin now entered into Karnataka, present Karnataka state. Veeraballala III, Veeraballal of Hoysala dynasty, he was defeated. Then Malik Kafur entered into Madurai, capital city of Pandyas, looted the city of Madurai. Malik Kafur installed a victory pillar, Kirtistambha, on the shores of bay at Rameshwaram. Rameshwaram, southernmost part of India. There Malik Kafur installed one Kirtistambha. That means the influence of Alauddin Khilji up to Rameshwaram. Clear? But be careful. UPSC gave a political map. Look at the UPSC. They have given you a political map in the exam hall. Asked you to mark the empire of Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin's empire was only up to Malwa. Class, get it right. Alauddin conquered the southern states, but he never ruled them. He only collected tributes. Alauddin intelligent, he knew practically impossible to rule southern states. So why unnecessarily the headache of ruling them? Collect money from them. Per annum, that much of tribute you fix it and collect the tribute. So Alauddin's empire only up to Malwa. Second question, during whose times Sultanate empire expanded maximum? Sultanate empire expanded maximum not under Alauddin Khilji. It was under Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Are you understanding? Tughlaq's policy, whatever that you conquer, you must rule it. Whereas Alauddin was not for it. Are you clear? This is Khilji imperialism. Alauddin made a mark of his own in every department of administration. He was more known for his administrative reforms. Brilliant reforms he introduced. That we will discuss in the next class. Up to this point, Khilji imperialism, I will post the synopsis. Clear?